Observe this man. He is 68 years of age. He practices for 6 hours every single day at the Shaolin Temple located in Henan Province, China. He has no gym membership, utilizes no protein supplements, and has no scheduled recovery days tracked on a spreadsheet. He maintains a single position for 3 consecutive minutes, keeping his entire body under tension, and his muscles do not tremble. They simply hold. The real question is not whether his methods are effective. You can clearly see that they work. The question is, what exactly is he doing? And why does it generate that specific type of strength at his age? The answer is not found in cardio. It is not found in weightlifting. It is found in isometric holds, specific, sequenced, and loaded with intention. Shaolin monks have utilized this system for more than 2,400 years to preserve functional strength, joint integrity, and structural durability well beyond the age of 60. We are covering 7 of those specific holds today. First, we must look at the physiology because it alters how you execute everything that follows. When you perform a standard repetition, such as a bicep curl or a squat, you are recruiting approximately 30 to 40% of your available muscle fibers at the point of peak contraction. The movement itself actually limits how hard the muscle can fire. Isometric contraction is fundamentally different. There is no movement to escape into. The muscle is forced to fire against a fixed resistance with nowhere to go, and peak fiber recruitment rises to 80 to 90% of available motor units. A 2022 study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine tracked 15,000 participants over a 5-year period, measuring the impact of isometric training on blood pressure, cardiovascular health, and musculoskeletal strength. The isometric group demonstrated a 10.9% reduction in systolic blood pressure, which was more than aerobic exercise and more than resistance training. However, the structural finding was what truly mattered for our objectives. Tendon and connective tissue density increased significantly after 8 weeks, surpassing any dynamic resistance protocol. This is not a coincidence. Tendons do not respond well to fast dynamic loading. They respond to sustained tension held over time. Isometric holds are exactly that. This is why monks who practice these holds into their 70s maintain grip strength, shoulder stability, and hip integrity that most men lose in their 40s. The Shaolin system is not a collection of 7 random exercises. It is a sequence that develops the body in a specific order. Hips first, then the spine, then the shoulder girdle, followed by full integration. Each hold establishes the foundation that the subsequent one requires. Here is the baseline test before you begin. Grip your dominant hand around a door frame at shoulder height with your arms straight and hold. Count how many seconds pass before you feel trembling. Most men over 50 reach that point between 15 and 25 seconds. That is your starting number. You will test this again in 30 days. Hold 1 is the horse stance, known as Mabu. This is the foundational isometric in the Shaolin system. Every other hold we cover today depends on the hip and quad stability that this one builds. Stand with your feet wider than shoulder width, roughly 2 shoulder widths apart. Your toes should be pointed slightly outward, about 15 degrees for each foot. Now lower your hips until your thighs are parallel to the ground. Not almost parallel, but truly parallel. Here is what most men do wrong immediately. They allow their knees to cave inward toward each other. Your knees must track directly over your second toe for the entire duration of the hold. Push them out actively and feel the outer glute engage. That is the target. Your spine must stay vertical, not lean forward and not lean back. Stack your hips directly under your rib cage. Your arms can be held out in front at the shoulder height with your fists lightly closed. Now breathe. Take a slow inhale through the nose for 4 counts, followed by a slow exhale for 4 counts. The breathing is not optional. It is what transforms this from a static hold into a live practice. You should feel a deep burning in the quads, right above the knee, and mild tension in the outer hip. If you feel it in your lower back, your spine has collapsed forward. Reset. Start with 30 seconds, which is the honest beginner mark. Work toward 2 minutes over the first 3 weeks. For those with limited knee mobility, elevate your heels on a folded mat or a 2-inch block. This reduces the angle of knee flexion while maintaining the hip load. The most common error in week 1 is holding your breath at the point of maximum burn. When you stop breathing, you spike cortisol, your blood pressure jumps, and the neuromuscular benefit collapses. Breathe through it. The horse stance alone builds the platform, but a platform without movement capacity is incomplete. Hold 2 is the iron bridge, or Tai a gong chow. Lie on your back with your feet flat on the floor and heels under your knees. Keep your arms at your sides with palms down. Drive through your heels and lift your hips until your body forms a straight, diagonal line from your knees to your shoulders. Every vertebra from the base of your neck to your tailbone should be off the floor. This is the posterior chain loaded under full isometric tension. It targets the glutes, hamstrings, erector spinae, and the deep spinal stabilizers that protect the lumbar vertebrae. Hold the position. Now tighten your glutes further. Imagine you are trying to crack a walnut between them. That additional 20% of glute activation is what separates this from a passive bridge into a genuine isometric load. Hold for 45 seconds. Breathe slowly. 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out. You should feel it primarily in the glutes, then the hamstrings, followed by a warm, deep pressure along the low back. This should be pressure, not pain. If you feel sharp lumbar pain, you have hyperextended. Drop your hips 2 centimeters and reset. The error at this hold is letting the hips drop 5 to 10% during the hold while telling yourself you are still holding. Set your phone timer. Trust the clock, not your perception. For those with lumbar sensitivity, keep your feet elevated on a chair so your knees are at 90 degrees. This reduces the lumbar extension demand while maintaining the posterior chain load. Hold 3 is the sitting mountain, or zuo shenshi. This is a wall sit, but executed with the precision the name implies. Keep your back flat against the wall, fully flat, not just the upper back. Place your feet at shoulder width, approximately 18 inches from the wall. Lower yourself until your thighs are parallel to the floor. Now flatten your lumbar spine against the wall. There should be no gap between your low back and the wall surface. This is where most men fail. They let the lower back arch away and think they are executing the hold. The moment the low back loses contact with the wall, you have shifted the load from the quads and hip flexors into the lumbar. Hold both arms out in front, parallel to the ground. Keep them there. 45 seconds is the first target, and 90 seconds is the 4-week target. Feel it. The deep quad burn begins around 20 seconds. By 35 seconds, it becomes intense. By 45 seconds, it demands your full attention. That is the window where the adaptation happens, not before it gets hard. The error that kills results across this entire system is stopping when the hold becomes uncomfortable instead of maintaining position through the burn. The adaptation signal, the mechanical stress on tendon and connective tissue, requires sustained time under tension past the point of initial discomfort. Most men stop exactly when the training is about to start. Hold 4 is star plucking, or JJ Li. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart. Raise your right arm overhead with the palm facing the ceiling and fingers spread. Simultaneously, lower your left arm toward the floor with the palm facing down. Now reach, not a casual stretch, but an active reach. Extend through both fingertips simultaneously in opposite directions, as if someone is pulling both hands from across the room. This creates full lateral chain tension from the fingertips of your raised hand, through your shoulder, through the trunk, through the hip, and down the inner thigh. Hold for 3 slow breaths on each side, which is approximately 15 to 18 seconds per side. Do 4 rounds total. When this is correct, you will feel a deep stretch under the lower ribs on the raised arm side. It should not be in the shoulder or the neck, but under the ribs and into the lateral lumbar. If you only feel a shoulder stretch, your trunk is not engaged. Push the raised hips slightly outward as you reach, and the sensation will shift to the correct location. For limited shoulder mobility, instead of raising the arm fully overhead, raise it only to 45 degrees with the elbow bent and forearm pointing toward the ceiling. The lateral chain tension still activates through the trunk. Extend the range gradually over 2 to 3 weeks as the shoulder opens. The error here is rushing the transition between sides. Take a full breath between switches. The lateral chain needs 1 full reset before loading the opposite side. Hold 5 as the golden rooster stands on one leg, or du Li. Stand on your left foot. Lift your right knee to hip height with the thigh parallel to the floor. Arms can be held out slightly for balance or pressed together at the chest in a prayer position. Close your eyes. The moment your eyes close, the small stabilizing muscles in your ankle, knee, and hip begin working at 3 to 4 times the demand they have with eyes open. The visual system compensates for postural instability. Remove it, and the body is forced to develop the deep stabilizer infrastructure that prevents falls and protects joints under load. Hold for 30 seconds each side with eyes closed. An honest week 1 experience for most men over 55 will involve a strong wobble within 10 seconds. That is not failure. That is the test showing you where you are. You will be measurably steadier by day 14. The error is holding your breath because you are concentrating. You must breathe. The moment you hold your breath in a balance hold, you create intra-abdominal pressure that actually destabilizes the hips. Breathe slowly and let the wobble happen without fighting it. For those with ankle instability, stand near a wall with fingertips lightly touching, not gripping, the wall. Pull the fingertips away as soon as possible. Hold 6 is the resting dragon, or Wo Long Shi. Drop into a deep squat. Your feet must be flat on the floor, and your heels must stay grounded. Place your feet at shoulder width or slightly wider. Your hips should drop below knee height. Most Western men cannot do this on day 1, not because of a lack of strength, but because of ankle dorsiflexion and hip mobility that years of chair sitting has eliminated. If you cannot hold a flat-footed deep squat, that is a reliable indicator of hip and ankle joint health decline. Once in the squat, rest your elbows on your inner knees with palms pressed together. This uses arm-to-leg counter pressure to keep the hips open, while the ankles and hip flexors are under sustained load. Hold for 60 seconds. Breathe and let gravity do the work. If you cannot get to flat feet, place a rolled towel under both heels. Decrease the heel lift week by week as your ankle mobility improves. You should feel this in the inner groin and the Achilles simultaneously. Both are correct. This hold addresses the compression pattern that desk work and driving accelerate: anterior hip shortening, posterior hip weakening, and ankle stiffening. It reverses all 3 simultaneously. Hold 7 is the iron T, or Taiban Shi. Stand with your feet together, hinge forward at the hips until your torso is parallel to the floor. Extend your right leg behind you until your body forms a straight horizontal T. One leg is on the ground, while the torso and opposite leg create one long line. Arms extend forward in line with your torso, with fingers reaching. This is the most demanding hold on the list. It requires every system developed in the previous 6 holds: hip stability from Ma Bu, posterior chain from the iron bridge, balance from the golden rooster, and full chain tension from star plucking, all simultaneously. Hold for 20 seconds each side for 3 rounds. If you cannot hold the position without the raised leg dropping, place your hands on a chair in front of you for the first 2 weeks. That is not a modification. That is the progression. You will feel intense, deep glute activation on the standing leg, spinal extensors along the full length of the back, and anterior core bracing to hold the spine from buckling. This hold is the integration test. If holds 1 through 6 have been practiced for 2 weeks and this still collapses within 5 seconds, go back to the iron bridge for another week. There are 3 errors that kill results across this system. First is inconsistent hold depth. By week 3, most men start self-negotiating. Thighs stop at 70% parallel, the bridge drops, and the squat gets shallower. The body adapts to the position you actually train, not the position you think you are training. Film yourself from the side once a week. Second is doing the holds out of sequence. The physiological benefit compounds when performed in order, with 30 to 45 seconds of rest between each one. Each hold pre-activates the muscles the next one needs. Random order produces roughly half the result. Third is stopping at the first burn instead of holding through it. The adaptation signal requires sustained tension past initial discomfort. Most men stop exactly when the training is about to start. In week 1, quads and glutes will be heavily loaded. Balance holds will wobble. The deep squat will likely need heel elevation. Soreness will be stronger than expected. In weeks 2 and 3, the wobble in the balance hold decreases noticeably. The wall sit adds 15 to 20 seconds without effort. Soreness shifts from prime movers into smaller stabilizers like the outer hip and mid-back. By month 1, retest the grip hold. Most men add 12 to 20 seconds. The deep squat gains 2 to 3 centimeters of depth. Tendon and connective tissue adaptation continues building through 90 days. 7 holds performed in sequence, at least 3 times per week. Total time, 18 minutes. Every hold teaches the body to produce maximum fiber recruitment under zero movement conditions, the precise condition that builds connective tissue and deep stabilizer strength that conventional training cannot reach. There are 2 things to do today. Tonight, test the grip hold on your door frame and write the number down. Tomorrow morning before coffee, run holds 1 through 3, just the first 3, for 30 seconds each. A warning, if you have a known tendon injury in the near shoulder, holds 2 and 7 require clearance before loading. The monk in Henan province starts before sunrise. The practice is the habit, and the habit is the practice. The result is visible in how his body moves at 68. That is available to you. It starts with 30 seconds in a horse stance tomorrow morning. Subscribe, as there are 6 more Shaolin protocols coming over the next 2 months. Leave a comment with your grip hold number from tonight. I want to see where you are starting from and your 30-day number when you return. If you know a man over 55 who has been told his strength will only decline, send him this video. If this ancient wisdom changes how you view your own physical potential, subscribe to the channel. We are uncovering the physical mastery that modern life has tried to erase. Build your foundation. The next gate to strength will open soon. Like and subscribe to join the journey.